Hello all, welcome to session 117. In this session, I'm going to practically demonstrate the manual creation of the CSS selectors from scratch. So let's get started. First of all, what exactly are the CSS selectors? As explained in one of the previous sessions, there are different type of locators for locating the elements on the web pages. That is, ID is one type of locator, then we have name locator, then class name locator, then link text locator, then CSS selectors, and then XPath expressions. These are the different type of locators we have guys for locating the elements on the web pages. And CSS selectors locator is one of them. Okay, is one of the locator types we have for locating the elements on the web pages. When compared to the XPath expressions, CSS selectors have the higher priority. Okay, when I compare the CSS selectors with XPath expressions, CSS selectors, if I compare with the XPath expressions, which one has the highest priority? CSS selectors or XPath expressions? CSS selectors have the highest priority. What does it mean? What does it mean by highest priority? So if you are able to locate a particular UI element by using both CSS selectors and XPath expressions, you should use only CSS selectors in real time. Okay. If you are able to locate the UI element with the help of CSS selectors, both CSS selectors locators and also at the same time XPath expressions, you should prefer using the CSS selectors as a locator for locating that UI element over XPath expression. That's why I'm saying CSS selectors have the highest priority over the XPath expressions. Not only this, guys, not only this, there are few other differences between this CSS selectors and XPath expressions. Apart from CSS selectors being the highest priority, okay, which one is the powerful out of CSS selectors and XPath expressions? XPath expressions are the powerful. Okay, when compared to CSS selectors, XPath expressions are powerful locators because using XPath expressions we can locate almost all the type of view elements on the web pages, whereas CSS selectors will also be capable of is also capable of locating almost all elements. But compared to XPath expressions are more powerful than the CSS selectors because it can locate almost anything. Okay, XPath expression can locate anything, whereas CSS selector sometimes may not be able to locate few elements. Okay, so that's why XPath expressions are powerful. So why the XPath expressions are powerful when compared to CSS selectors? Because of a concept known as XPath access. Okay, in XPath expression there is a concept known as XPath access, which I already explained as part of the previous session, guys. Okay, in one of the previous session I explained complete XPath expressions in detail from scratch, how to create manual and all. So in that session, I explained this XPath access. Because of this XPath access in XPath expressions are powerful when compared to CS selectors. But priority is high for CS selectors. Even though XPath expressions are powerful, why the priority is there for CSS selectors? Even though the XPath expressions are powerful, why the priority is given for CSS selectors over the XPath expressions in real time for locating the elements? There is a reason, guys. Okay, the one small reason is CSS selectors are faster. Okay, CSS selectors are faster when compared to XPath expressions only. It doesn't mean that XPath expressions are slow. Okay, XPath expressions are not slow. Okay, XPath expressions are not slow, guys. Okay, only when you compare XPath expressions with CSS selectors, CSS selectors are faster than XPath expressions. That's it. Okay, it doesn't mean that XPath expressions are slow. CSS selectors are faster than, okay, a bit faster than XPath expressions. That's the only thing, guys. Okay, CSS selectors are a bit faster than XPath expressions, but in fact XPath expressions and CSS selectors both are faster only in locating the elements. Okay, the another difference why the CS selectors are given the highest priority over the XPath expressions is XPath expressions are not properly supported by the IE browser. Okay, the IE browser engine, the IE browser engine doesn't support the XPath expressions properly. So 99%, most of the cases, guys, 98 to 99%. Okay, there will not be any problem, guys. Okay, if you are using XPath expressions and automating some script to run on a IE browser, most of the cases the script will run, guys. But in that 1% or 2%, what will happen is few XPath expressions will not perform properly on the IE browser. Okay, XPath expressions sometimes fail when running the automation scripts on the IE browser. Okay, sometimes it will happen, guys, not always, sometimes. Okay, that's why I'm saying 98 to 99%, no problem. But that 1% or 2%, there's a problem where XPath expressions may not be able to locate the elements on the IE browser. Okay, because they are not properly supported by, okay, XPath expressions are not properly supported by the IE browser engine. All the other browser engines support the XPath expressions, but coming to the IE browser, not all the XPath expressions are properly supported by, they are not properly supported by the IE browser engine. Most of the cases it will pass, but few random cases where 1% or 2%, the XPath expressions will fail to locate the elements on the IE browser. Okay, that's why we generally go for CSS selectors. Okay, CSS selectors are supported by all the browser engines. Okay, CSS selectors are supported. There is no problem here. Supported by all the browser engines. Okay, CSS selectors are supported by all the browser engines. Where coming to XPath expressions, they are not supported by. They are not supported properly by. They are supported, but they are not supported properly by the IE browser engine, and there is a possibility of failure here. Okay. So these are the reasons, guys, why CSS selectors are given highest priority over the XPath expressions. I covered XPath expressions in detail from scratch, in a manual creation way and all in one of the previous session. You can go through the session, guys. If you understand how to create the XPath expressions for locating the elements, learning of CSS selectors is very easy, guys. Okay, if you already have this knowledge of XPath expressions, learning CSS selectors is very easy. Okay, so I recommend you guys have to go to the previous session where I covered this XPath expressions in detail in one of the previous session, and come back to the CSS selectors so that you will understand this session very easy. Okay, fine. Hope you are able to understand the difference between the CSS selectors and XPath expressions. CSS selectors have the highest priority over the XPath expressions because CSS selectors are a bit faster than XPath expressions, and also CSS selectors are supported by almost all browsers. But coming to XPath expressions, despite of being powerful, they have the lowest priority over the CSS selectors, and XPath expressions are not slow, guys, but still, okay, but still they are not supported properly by the IE browser engine. Okay, they're not supported properly by the IE browser engine. Because of these reasons, in real time, CSS selectors are given more priority over the XPath expressions. Okay, so fine, guys, this is done. Okay, now you understood something, the differences and all, what exactly CSS selectors are and what is the difference between XPath expressions and CSS selectors so far. Now let's go to the types of CSS selectors. Okay, there are different types of CSS selectors. Similar to XPath expressions, guys, CSS selectors are also categorized into two types. Okay, similar to XPath expressions, which I have covered in one of the previous sessions, CSS selectors are also categorized into two types. One is absolute CSS selectors. The other one is relative CSS selectors. Okay, absolute means full path, full or complete path. Relative means direct or shortcut path. Here, in case of absolute CSS selectors, we have to give the full path. In case of relative CSS selectors, we have to give direct or shortcut path. Similar to XPath expressions, guys. XPath expressions also, as explained in one of the previous session, XPath expressions also have the absolute XPath expressions and relative XPath expressions. Here also same thing. CS selectors also have the absolute CS selectors and relative CS selectors. Okay, here full path, like absolute XPath or absolute CS selectors is nothing but full path, whereas relative XPath expressions or relative CS selectors means direct or shortcut path. Okay, same thing, same concepts apply here also. So let's first learn the absolute CS selectors, guys. In real time, we are going to use the relative CS selectors. We are not going to use absolute CS selectors. But in order to learn the relative CS selectors, we should have some knowledge about the absolute CS selectors. Okay. After getting the knowledge about the absolute CS selectors, learning and implementing of this relative CS selectors become easy. Okay. That's why I'm trying to explain the absolute CS selectors first. Okay. Fine. Then okay. So I said, right, it's complete path. Absolute means complete path, full path. Absolute CS selectors tries to locate the elements from the root. Okay, from the root element, from the root itself, it will try to locate. So here are few examples, guys. We'll go to this application where I can demonstrate. Okay, so I'll right click inspect. I'll go to this selector sub. So I explained, guys, how to install selector sub and how to use selector sub in one of the previous sessions. Okay, if you have followed my sessions from the beginning, you'll understand what is this selector sub. So I'll turn off these things. Okay, I don't want to use auto generation things. Okay, I'll turn off this both options. Now I'll use it as a manual kind of thing. Okay, for locating the elements. Fine, I want to locate using the absolute CSS selector. I want to locate this HTML, guys. Okay, so what I will do is I'll directly give HTML, guys. Okay, I have to directly enter HTML. That's it. So if I have to compare with the if I have to compare this absolute CSS selector with absolute XPath, okay, then you will understand easily. Absolute XPath expressions and here absolute CSS selectors. CSS selector. In case of absolute XPath, if I have to locate this HTML, if I have to locate this HTML tag, then I have to write something like this. It will start with this forward slash followed by HTML tag. But in case of absolute CSS selector, simply give HTML, guys. That's it. You don't have to give forward slash here, okay? Absolute XPath will start with forward slash, but here absolute CSS selector will not start with anything. It will directly start with the tag name, okay? HTML, like this. So you see when I press HTML here, it's locating the, this is the absolute CSS selector, which is locating the HTML tag. Fine. Then next one, I want to locate the head tag, okay? I want to locate the head tag. So I have to write here. First I have to start absolute CSS means it has to start from the root element. Root element here is HTML, okay? From root element we have to start HTML. We have to use greater than symbol, okay? Greater than head, okay? Here the navigation is something like this, guys, okay? Under HTML we have head and body tags like this, okay? Let me write down. Under HTML, this particular complete code I am depicting here, guys. Under HTML tag we have head and body tags, okay? This is head and this is body. This head and this is body. Under head we have title and script. So under head we have the children, that is title and script tags. Title and script. And under body we have two children again. Okay, these are the two children of the body tag, two paragraph tags. So here this is one paragraph, this is one paragraph. Okay. Okay, like this guys. Okay, HTML, the two children of the HTML are head and body. Okay, and head has again head has its own children, that is title and script. Body has its own children, right? Two paragraphs. Okay, here HTML is the grandparent of this paragraph tags, and paragraph tags are the grandchildren of the HTML. Okay, here title and script are also the grandchildren of the HTML tag, and head and body are the children of the HTML. Title and script are the children of the head. These two p tags are the children of the body, and here head and body are siblings. Siblings means brother and sisters of each other at same level. Okay, brother and sister. Here title and script are the siblings. Here two paragraph tags are the siblings, like that case. Okay, parent, child, grandparent, grandchild, then siblings. These are all the things you have to remember, guys. Okay, now if I have to create the absolute CSS selector or absolute XPath for locating this head tag, I have to write something like this, right? HTML slash head, I have to say, okay? Slash HTML slash head. So head is the child of the HTML, so I have to say slash head here. Now, in case of absolute CSS selectors, I have to write something like this, okay? There will not be any slash here. HTML greater than head, I have to say, okay? Head is the child of the HTML. Head is one of the child of the HTML, okay? So like that is, okay? If I give HTML greater than head, you see, it will locate the head tag. If I want to locate this title tag, if I have to create that absolute CS selector which will locate this title tag, I have to start from HTML. Under HTML, we have head. Under head, we have title, right? Head is a child of the HTML. Title is a child of the head. So HTML child of head. Head child is title. Enter. You see, it will locate the title. You see, CSS is equal to 1 is added here. Title is located here. Similarly, if I want to locate this body tag, okay, I want to locate the body tag. So body is one of the child of the HTML. So it will start with HTML greater than body. HTML greater than body. Okay. So enter, you see body tag will be located. Now if I want to locate these two paragraphs, HTML greater than body greater than P, it will locate the two paragraphs. Fine guys, these are few examples guys. So locates all the paragraph tags. Now these examples I am going to demonstrate. Okay, next few examples. I want to locate the paragraph which is having the ID as para1. Okay, I want to locate the paragraph. Instead of locating two paragraphs, I want to locate a paragraph. Out of these two paragraphs, I want to locate the paragraph which is having the ID as para1 using the absolute CSS selector. I have to start from HTML greater than. Under HTML we have head and body. Okay, under HTML we have children as head and body. So these paragraphs are there under the body. So I'll say HTML body here greater than. Under body we have these two paragraphs. If I give P here, it will locate the two paragraphs, guys. Both the two paragraphs got located here. But I want to locate only the paragraph which is having the ID as para1. So here have to open the square bracket. Okay, open the square bracket. Have to say ID is equal to para1 directly. Okay, enter. This will locate the paragraph. Okay, I'll copy this. I'll write down here. If I want to locate a paragraph having the ID as para1, I am writing like this, right? If I have to write the same thing in absolute XPath, okay, if I have to write the same thing in absolute XPath, just see the difference, guys. Slash HTML slash body slash P of, okay, slash P of, sorry, let me write it again, slash HTML slash body slash P of @ID is equal to para1. In case of XPath, here before the attribute names, we have this symbol. Okay, this symbol is there in case of the XPath expressions. In XPath expressions, before the attribute name, we have to provide symbol. But in case of CS selector, do you see before ID, do you see any symbol? No, guys. Okay. In CSS selectors, we don't have that symbol. We have to directly provide ID is equal to para1. Okay. In case of XPath expressions only, we have to provide before the attribute name. This small difference, guys. So hope you are able to see some differences here. Here we are using /. Here we are using greater than symbol. Okay. For going to the child elements, for going to the child tags, here we are using the /. You see HTML /head. But here instead of /, we are using greater than symbol. And here one more thing is, this is starting with all the absolute XPath expressions are starting with slash. Here absolute CS selectors are not starting with anything. That's another difference. Third thing is all the attribute, okay, all the attribute names will have symbol in the absolute XPath or relative XPath. Symbol will be there before the attribute names. But in case of CS selectors, attribute names will not have any symbol before it. Okay, directly we have to provide the attribute name. That's it. Okay, P of ID is equal to para1. That's it. Here P @ID is equal to para1. Okay, P of @ID is equal to para1 in case of XPath. In CS selectors, there is no here before the names. So these are few differences you have to like understand this. Okay, kind of understand. If you are using both XPath and CS selectors for locating the elements, small modifications. Okay, here @ is there, here @ is not there. Here slash is there. Here cap greater than symbol is there. Okay, here they will start with /. Here they don't start with anything. Directly tag name it will start. These are few differences. Now let's go to the few more examples, guys. Few more examples so that we can understand. Now the same thing, guys. Here paragraph having the ID as para1. Now I want to locate the paragraph which is having the class as sub. Okay. So for that, what I will do, HTML greater than body greater than P. It will locate two paragraphs, and I want to locate the paragraph which is having the class as sub. Open the square bracket. Here @ will not be there, guys. In CS selectors, @ will not be there. Directly class is equal to sub. Enter. You see the second paragraph got located. Fine. Next one. Next one is here. Here, guys, there is a one shortcuts. Okay, there are a few shortcuts. There are symbols or shortcuts. You can say whatever you can say. In absolute, I mean, in CSS selectors, there are symbols like these two things. Okay, hash and dot. Hash and dot. Hash stands for ID, guys. Okay, hash means ID. Dot means class. Okay, so here, if I say P of P of ID is equal to para1, if I write CSS selector like this, okay, it will locate the first paragraph which is having the ID as para1. Okay, like this. Here, instead of writing all these steps, okay, what I can simplify this. I can simply say P hash ID value. That's it. Enter. It will locate, guys. Okay. Here hash means ID. The paragraph having the ID as para1. P hash para1 means the paragraph having the ID as para1 will be located. Okay. Similarly, there is a concept known as dot. HTML greater than body greater than P. It will locate the two paragraphs. I want to locate the paragraph which is having the class as sub. So here I will say P dot sub. Okay. P dot sub. Paragraph having the dot means class here, guys. Okay. Paragraph having the class as sub. Enter. You see the second paragraph got located here. The paragraph which is having the classes sub got located. Okay, paragraph which is having the classes sub got located. Fine, guys. So these are some shortcuts, guys. If you don't want to write P of ID is equal to para1, you can write P hash para1. Okay, here we can write P hash para1. Okay, that will be fine. Here, if you don't want to write P class is equal to sub, you can write P dot sub like this. Okay, fine guys. So these are the shortcuts. And similarly, we can use multiple attributes guys for locating. For example, I want to locate a paragraph which is having the ID as para1 and class as main. Okay, ID as para1 and also class as main. I'll write something like this: HTML greater than body greater than P to locate two paragraphs. Can you see here? CS is equal to 1, CS is equal to 2 paragraphs got located here. This CS is equal to 1, CS is equal to is added by the selector sub guys to indicate that this particular CSS selector, absolute CSS selector expression is able to locate these two paragraphs. Okay, the selector is locating these two paragraphs to mention that selector sub is adding the CSS is equal to 1, CSS is equal to 2 here in the HTML code. Fine. HTML greater than body greater than P square bracket ID is equal to para1 again square bracket class is equal to sub. Like this we can write. If you want to provide, sorry, class is equal to main. Class is equal to main. If you want to provide multiple conditions here, you can provide guys. Press enter, you see the paragraph, first paragraph which is having the ID as para1 and class is equal to main got located. What if I give sub here? There is no paragraph which is having both ID as para1 and class as sub at the same time. Okay, ID as para1 is there for this particular paragraph and class is equal to sub is there for this paragraph, but there is no single paragraph which is having both ID as para1 and class as sub. So this will not locate anything. You see, zero elements matching will come. Okay, this is AND condition guys. P having ID as para1 and class is equal to sub is not there. Okay, but if I give main here, it will locate a paragraph which is having both ID as para1 and class as main is there, so it got located. So guys, these are the basics for the absolute CSS selectors guys. These are the basics for the absolute CSS selectors. Okay, so the next one is relative CSS selectors. Once you got the basics of the absolute CSS selectors, now we can go for the relative CSS selectors. Okay, as I already mentioned, absolute means full path. You have to start from beginning. HTML body. So no matter what tag you want to locate, you have to start from the root tag, that is HTML. Then what is the child tag? Then the next child tag. Like that, we have to go to the required element. But in case of relative CSS selectors, is a direct path, guys. Okay, direct path, shortcut path or direct path directly locates the elements, guys. Okay, you don't have to give the entire path. You can directly locate the elements. So let me give you some examples so that you can understand. We'll go to the same application page. This page only we are going to use. So here, if I want to locate HTML, guys, I will directly give HTML. You see, HTML. So let me compare this with the relative XPath expression so that we can easily understand. Relative XPath. Relative XPath, this side, and relative CSS selectors, this side. So what is the difference between relative XPath and relative CSS selectors? Okay, both are direct paths only, guys, but this is XPath, this is CSS selector, right? Shortcut XPath, shortcut CSS selectors. So if I have to locate this HTML tag using relative XPath, I have to say /HTML, right? I have to write /HTML. So all the relative XPath expressions will start with /. But coming to relative CSS selectors, this / will not be there. Okay, if I press enter, you see HTML is getting located with the help of XPath is equal to XPath. This is XPath, guys. Okay, using XPath we are locating the HTML. But if I give directly HTML, you see, using CSS selector, I'm locating the HTML. Okay, so in case of here, it will be like this. Both are direct or shortcut paths, but only thing is that this relative XPath expression start with /. Relative CS selector doesn't start with the /. Okay, it will start directly with the tag name. Okay, that's one thing. Next, I want to locate the next one. Next example is I want to locate the head tag. So in relative XPath expression, I have to give /head. This is relative XPath. Okay, this side /head. But in case of relative CSS selector, I have directly give head here. Okay, it doesn't start with // here. Here // concept is not there. Directly tag names. Here I have to give directly head. You see, CSS selector is able to locate head tag directly. Similarly, I want to locate the body tag. Give directly body. You see, body tag got located using CSS selector, relative CSS selector. If I want to locate all the paragraphs here, directly give P, guys. Enter. Okay, directly give P tag. You see, relative CSS selector P tag is locating all the paragraphs. If I want to locate a paragraph which is having the ID as para1, square bracket, ID is equal to para1. Here at the rate symbol will not be there, guys. Okay, before the attribute names, at the rate symbol will not be there. The paragraph having the ID as para1 got located here. You see. Similarly, if I want to locate a paragraph which is having the class as sub, so P of class is equal to sub. Okay, so like this, simple. So what is the difference here? In case of relative XPath expression, if I were to locate a paragraph which is having the ID as para1, I have to give like this. Okay, I have to give something like this. Okay, ID attribute name is having the at the rate symbol here, but here at the rate symbol is not there. Here directly P, double slash is not there, at the rate symbol is not there. Directly P, ID is equal to para1 directly. Okay, this is CS absolute. This is relative CS selector. Okay, this is relative XPath. This is relative CS selector. Here at the rate is not there, double slash is not there, and compared. Fine. Similarly, any other things left? Yeah, shortcuts. Remember the shortcuts, right? You can give the shortcuts also. Okay. If you want to give a paragraph having the ID as para1, we generally write like this, right? P ID is equal to para1. In relative CS selector, we have to say P ID is equal to para1. So what I can do is, instead of writing all this stuff, I can simply say P hash para1. Paragraph having the ID as hash means ID. ID as ID value as para1. It is also same, guys. And if I want to look at the paragraph which is having the class as sub using the shortcut symbol, I have to say P dot. Dot means class. Paragraph having the class as sub. You see, paragraph having the class as sub got located here. Okay, fine. Those are the shortcuts, guys. Similarly, we can have multiple conditions here. P of ID is equal to, I want to locate a paragraph which is having the ID as para1 and class as main. I'll say ID is equal to para1 and class is equal to main, like this. Okay, enter. You see, a paragraph which is having the ID as para1 and class as main got located. What if I give sub here? Is there any paragraph having both ID as para1 and class as sub here? In this HTML code, do you see any paragraph having both the ID as para1 and class as sub? No, it will not locate. You see, zero elements matching. Okay, both the conditions should match, guys. Both the attributes should match. Then only it will locate. So this is all about the some basics of this relative CS selectors, guys. Now let's explore more examples. Okay, whatever the knowledge we got so far for the relative CS selectors, let's apply here. Okay, and let's move to the next level in CS relative CS selectors. Okay, there are more examples here. So fine. So what I will do here is I locate the entire HTML page. So I have to give HTML relative CS selector as HTML. In real time, we have to use relative CS selectors in the automation scripts, guys. Okay, we should not be using the absolute CS selectors. This is only for learning. But coming to relative CS selectors, we generally use in the real time. So I'll give HTML. It will locate the entire HTML page. Then if I give head here, it will locate the head tag. Okay, head section. It will locate the head section. If I give body here, it will locate only the body section. Complete body will be located. You see, body of the page got located. If I give title here, only the title will be located. You see, CSS is equal to 1 is added to this title by the CL selector sub here. Only title got located. If I want to locate the paragraphs, okay, all the paragraphs on this page having the P tags here. If I give P here, all the paragraphs will be located. Then P tags inside the body tag. If I have to locate the paragraph tags inside the body tag. Okay, so I have to give body here space P. Okay, body space P, guys. You don't have to give greater than here. Okay, if you give space from body, we can directly jump to P. Like this also we can give. Okay, HTML space P. This will also will work. Okay, from grandparent, you are directly jumping to the paragraph tags. Okay, so space means space is like double slash, guys. Okay, in relative XPath, the double slash is represented as space in relative CS selectors. That's it. Okay, double slash is mentioned as space. Single slash is mentioned as greater than symbol. Okay, here. That's the difference between XPath and CS selectors, guys. Okay, here double slash is nothing but space or nothing. Here forward slash is like greater than symbol. Okay, so here if you want to directly jump from HTML tag to the parent in relative XPath, if you want to directly go from HTML to paragraph, you have to write like this, right? Double slash HTML, again double slash P, you have to say. Okay, you cannot directly say HTML single slash P, we cannot say. If you want to directly jump from grandparent to the grandchildren, you have to say double slash P. Here also in relative CSS selectors, instead of double slash, we have to use space base. Okay, HTML. I cannot give greater than and P. This will not work. This is CSS selectors. Okay, this is relative CSS selector. Here greater than symbol will not work. Okay, because P is not the grandchild of the HTML tag. Okay, so what we have to do here is HTML space P have to give. Okay, space means we can directly jump from HTML to paragraph tags. Okay, in comparison, guys, space is nothing but double slash here in XPath. Okay, in relative CS selector, instead of space, instead of double slash, you have to use space. Hope you are able to understand. Fine. Next thing is, let's directly locate the paragraph which is having the ID as para1. Okay, paragraph having the ID as para1. Enter. You see the paragraph which is having the ID as para1 got located directly. And similarly, paragraph having the class as main, a paragraph which is having the class as main. Okay, this particular paragraph P class is equal to main. Enter. You see the paragraph having the class as main got located. So shortcuts, we can use shortcuts also. ID hash, sorry, not ID, P hash, P paragraph having the ID as para1, paragraph having the class as main, paragraph having the ID as para2, P hash, para2, paragraph having the class as sub. Like this we have to locate. Okay, those are the things. The next one, P dot main, P dot sub, everything is done. So here, if I don't want to give the tag name, okay, any tag having the ID as para1. If I want to locate a particular element which is having a ID as para1, okay, I don't know the tag name. So in that case, I can directly give hash para1. Any tag here, we are not mentioning P here, guys. If I don't mention in tag here, means that is any tag. Any tag having the ID as para1 will be located. Okay, any tag on this particular HTML which is having the ID as para1. It may be P tag, it may be any tag, it will be located, guys. Now similarly, if I say dot sub, any tag having the class as sub, okay, dot means class, will be located. Any tag, it can be P tag, it can be bold tag, it can be title tag, any tag which is having the class as sub will be located like this. Okay, fine. Then we have the next set of demonstrations, guys. Let me take you to this URL, the sample application URL, to explain that other examples. Let's go to this application, my.blogspot.com. Okay. Locate input tag having the value blue. Okay, we have to locate the input tags. Right click inspect, guys. In relative XPath expressions, if you want to locate all the input tags, all the elements having the input tags, then you have to say /input, right? This is what we have to we used to do, right? In relative XPath expressions, if I want to locate all the text fields, all the fields which are having the input tag, all the elements which are having the input tag, I have to say /input in relative XPath. But in CSS, we have to directly give input, guys. Okay, the same 34 elements are coming. You see, all input. Okay, all the elements having the input tag. There's a text box field button. Everything is having the input. You see all the input tags. This one is this text box field, username text box field having input field, input tag. So similarly, this one is also this one. You see here login button is there, okay, which is having the input tag here. Type is button. Here type is text. Type is text. That's why text field. This button is also input tag only. Type is button. So similarly, we have different input tags, guys. You see this radio button. Type is radio, but tag is input. Okay, radio button. Like that, all the elements on the page having the input tag got located using input. Okay. So I'll give input here. I want to filter. How many elements came here? 34 elements. In that 34 elements, I want to filter the input which is having the, let's see, input having the, what is that example? Blue color. Okay. Yeah, you see value is equal to blue is there. Okay. For one of the input, one of the element input, for one of the elements input tag, which is having the value as blue, I want to filter. Okay. Out of these 34 elements, I want to locate this particular input tag which is having the value as blue. So I have to say here in relative CS selectors, I have to say input of value is equal to blue. That's it. To filter that. Okay. Out of 34, we got one element now. Okay. Only this particular element is having the value attribute value as value. That is blue. Okay. Value attribute value as blue. Next one. Next one is locate elements having the, here locate input tags they are saying, that's why input of value of blue. Okay, now here they are saying locate elements, they are not giving any tag name, so I don't provide anything. Having value is equal to blue, so in the square bracket say value is equal to blue. Okay, here we are not providing the tag name, rather we are only providing the value is equal to blue. Press enter. You see only one element on this page is having the value as blue, that got located here. Without tag name, if you have to provide like this, we have to mention. Okay, locate all the input tags. Okay, I want to locate all the input tags. Instead of okay, if I type input here, all the elements on the page having the input tag, that is 34 elements are coming up. Locate all the elements having value as attributes. Locate all the elements, that is tag name they are not giving, they are having the what is that value attribute. Okay, value attribute. So they are not giving either the tag name or the value of this value attribute, they are simply giving the attribute name, that's it. Okay, so these are the different U elements, guys. 37 elements are there. You see here, it can be any tag. This particular CSS selector means it can be any tag. It can be button tag, it can be input tag, it can be option tag. It doesn't matter. Having the value attribute. You see, this button tag is having the value attribute. This input tag is having the value attribute. This input also is having value. This option is having value. So all the tags which are having the value attribute with any value, any type of value. See, this value is login. This value is again login, this value is cancel, this value is volvo x, this value is swift x. You see different values are there, it doesn't matter. So any tag having value attribute as any value. Okay, like this, if you have to write, you have to write like this. Okay, the next one, locate all the elements. Here they are not giving the tag name, having the id as attribute. Having the id as attribute, only attribute name they are giving. Like this, you have to write. They are not giving the value of the id attribute, or they are not giving the tag name of the id attribute. You see, style having the id, value doesn't matter, tag doesn't matter. Here id is template skin, tag is style, it doesn't matter. Div id is navbar. Okay, id and tag name doesn't matter. Okay, id value and tag name doesn't matter. Here only we are locating with the help of id attribute for that particular u element. 120 elements, 122 u elements are on this page, which are having the id attribute. So now the next one, guys, locate all the elements having the name as attribute. Same thing, name, like this. Okay, any tag having the name as attribute, that's it. Any tag, any u element having any tag having the name attribute. So all the things which are having the name attribute, 35 elements are there on this page which are having the name attribute, having any value, that's fine. Locate all the elements having href attribute. If I give href here, any tag having the href as the attribute, the value of the href is also doesn't matter here. Okay, 33 elements are on the page which are having the href attribute. Mostly all hyperlinks will have the href case. Okay, then we have locate all the elements having the src attribute. Src, any tag having src attribute. Press enter. The 65 elements are on the page which are having the src attribute. Source is there, source src. Okay, any tag having src with any value. Then locate all the image tags having src as attribute. Image tag, they are giving the tag name, so I have to give img having the src as the attribute. They are not giving the value of the src, like this, img of src. 55 elements are on this page which are having the image tag with src as attribute. Hope you are able to understand till here, guys. Let's go with few more examples. Okay, so let's go with a few more examples. Now on this application, compendium dev, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to solve these things. Okay, so locate all the p tags. They're giving p tag. So p tag, locate all the p tags having id as attribute. P of id. That's it. Locate all the paragraph tags which are having the id attribute. Okay, there are two paragraphs having, both are having the id attribute. Okay, this paragraph is having the id attribute. This paragraph is having the id attribute. So two elements got located. Now next one, locate all the elements. Locate all the elements having id as attribute. So they are not giving the tag name. They are simply saying locate all the elements. That means any tag having id as attribute, but they are giving the attribute name as id. Press enter. There are two elements on this page having the id as attribute. That is these two paragraphs only. The next one, locate all the p tags having the class as attribute. Okay, locate all the p tags. They are giving tag name p having the class as attribute. They are not giving the class attribute value, but p of class. two elements. Okay, these two paragraphs have the class is equal to main, class is equal to sub. So they got located. Locate all the elements having class as attribute. They are not giving the tag name. Locate all the elements on this page which are having the class attribute. Enter, you see two elements are there. Fine. Fine. So next one here guys, let's go to the first child, last child, nth child. Okay, these three things I am going to explain now. How to use first child, last child, and nth child. Okay guys, fine. Let's compare the relative XPath with relative CS selector now. For example, here, if I want to locate the paragraphs, I have to say P, right? In relative CSS selector, I have to say P. This P will locate all the two paragraphs, okay? If I want to locate first paragraph, okay? If I want to locate the first paragraph in relative XPath expressions, okay? In relative XPath expressions, we have to write /P of 1, right? If I want to locate the first paragraph here, I have to say /P of 1 in relative XPath expression. But in relative CS selectors, we have to write P of P colon first hyphen child, like this, okay? I'll tell you what is that. Okay, P colon first child, okay? I'll tell you. So how I have to write P colon first hyphen child, press enter. You see the first paragraph got located. P colon first child, okay, is nothing but P of 1. Here P of 1, here P colon first child. Similarly, the next one here we have is the last child. Okay, if I want to look at this last one, last paragraph in relative XPath expression, I would say like this: /P of last function is there, right? Last /P of last. Here I have to say P colon last hyphen child. That's it. Okay. In relative XPath expression, you have to write /P of last function. This will locate the last paragraph using XPath expression, relative XPath. In CSS, relative CSS selector, we have to write P colon last hyphen child. Enter. Okay, the last paragraph got located. So I want to locate the paragraph using the index position. Okay, if I want to say P of 2, position is 2, right? We can write the position also. Position is equal to 2, or simply /P of 2 we can write. In CSS selectors, we have to say P of P colon, okay, nth hyphen child of 2 we have to provide. Okay, here /P of 2, here P colon nth hyphen child of 2. P colon nth hyphen child of 2. It will locate the second paragraph. Okay, if you have more paragraphs, you can locate like that, same way. Okay, fine. Hope you are able to understand this first child, last child, and nth child. Okay, so those are nothing but the first child, last child, nth child. Okay, so next thing is here I want to locate. I'll say HTML greater than, okay, colon, I mean star colon first hyphen child. Here star means any tag. Okay, in relative CS selectors, like for a child element, for using the first child and all, you have to provide star here, star colon first child. It will locate the first child. First child, it can be any tag, guys. Okay, it can be head tag or any tag name, which is in the first child, which is the first child of the HTML will be located here. You see, press enter. So head tag got located. You see, head tag got located. CS is equal to 1 is there a head. Okay, I want to locate this last child, last hyphen child. So here HTML has two children, head and body. Okay, the last child body tag got located under the HTML. Similarly, I can write something like this: colon nth child of 1. Okay, first child, nth child of 1 is also first child. Okay, it will locate the head. If I give nth child of 2, it will locate the body like this. Hope you are able to understand, guys. Hope you are able to understand how to use first child, last child, and nth child. Okay, these are few examples you can practice also, guys. Okay, you can practice all these examples. Okay, so next, there are a few more things I have not explained here. I am leaving that to your practice, guys. Okay, hope you are able to understand first child, last child, and nth child. That is enough. Based on that, I have to practice the remaining examples here. Okay, I don't want to explain or spoon feed each and everything for you. You have to practice all these things by yourself. Okay, Fine. Then we have, okay. So here we have comma operator. Okay. The next one is comma operator. I'm going to explain this comma operator. Comma symbol. Way to use comma symbol. For example, on this page, I want to locate this drop-down field and this hyperlink. Okay. At a time, I want to locate this drop-down field and hyperlink. I want to first create the like CSS selector for this drop-down field. Inspect this drop-down field. So when I inspect this drop-down field, I'm getting this okay, this line. I'll simply say select of id is equal to para1. Okay. So any mistakes I did? Sorry, select of id is equal to drop1. Sorry, drop1. Enter. You see, it is locating the drop-down field. Okay, this CSS selector is locating the drop-down field, and I'll remove this, and I'll locate some hyperlink. Let's say the Selenium tutorial I'll inspect. It is having id as link to. So I'll say a of id is equal to link to. Okay, a of id is equal to link to. So it's locating the hyperlink. So it's locating multiple things. What is the problem here? This one is getting located. Two elements are getting located. Both they are having the id as link to. So we should not be using that. Okay, this has id as link to. This has id. That is a problem. So I'll look at some other thing, guys. Okay, I'll look at this link. Okay, link one. Id as link one. Enter. You see this only one element. So here one earlier we located this drop down using the relative CSS selector. Now we are locating this particular link, Selenium 143 link, using this CS selector. Now I want to locate this drop down field and this link at the same time. So for that I have to type the same thing. Okay, select of id is equal to drop one. This will locate the drop down field. I have to say comma a of id is equal to link one. Okay, a of id is equal to link one, and press enter. Okay, select of id is equal to drop one, and a of id is equal to link one, like this. Okay, you see at present how many elements are being located? Two elements, drop down and link. Drop down and link at the same time they are getting located. Fine. So the next one, that's the purpose of the comma, guys. Okay, that's the purpose of the comma. All the elements will be highlighted. Okay, star asterisk symbol means anything. It can be anything. Okay, any tag. Asterisk means any tag. Here I'll say asterisk. Press enter. You see all the elements having, okay, all the elements will be located. All the tags will be located. Okay, all the elements will be located. Then if I say head, so under this only, right? Under the head, if I say greater than asterisk, all the children of the head tag, all the children which are there under the head will be located. All the children under the head will be located now. You see all the children. How many children are there? 20. 20 tags are there under the head tag. Link tag, meta tag, all these are getting located. Each and every tag under the head tag is getting located. Similarly, if I give body greater than star means all the children under the body tag are getting located. Okay. So all the children under the body are getting located. So 7 elements are there. Okay. So under the body, the immediate children are getting located. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are getting located. Then so next few examples. Okay. So we have few more symbols, guys. We have few more symbols. Let me explain this few more symbols. So there are 3 other symbols, guys. Can you see here? Cap symbol. Then other one is the dollar symbol and other one is the asterisk symbol. Okay, I'll explain about the symbols and how to use cap symbol, dollar symbol, and asterisk symbol. Okay, so cap means starts with. I'll tell you how to use. Okay, starts with. Dollar means ends with. Asterisk means contains. Okay, how to use this? I'll tell you with a proper example. So if I go here, the practice automation here is there. If I inspect this, practice automation here, not practice automation here. I have to go with other one. Maybe I'll go with class. Maybe this example. Sorry. Okay, this application. So inspect here. Go to selector sub. So let me use it. I want to locate a paragraph. Okay, I want to locate a paragraph. whose ID starts with para. Okay, I want to locate the paragraph whose ID starts with para. So here there are two paragraphs have both the IDs are starting with para. You see, this one is para, this one is para. Press enter. You see, both the paragraphs are getting located, right? Both the paragraphs are getting located. And similarly, if I want to locate the paragraphs whose ID is ending with 1, okay, I'll say ID ends with 1. So here I have to use dollar symbol. Okay, earlier I have used cap symbol for starts with. Now I'm saying the ID ends with 1. So in these two paragraphs, which paragraph's ID is ending with 1? First paragraph, right? This one is ending with 1. So only that will be located. You see, only the paragraph which is whose ID is ending with 1 will be located. Now if I say paragraph whose class starts with means which symbol? Cap symbol. Class starts with yes. If I have to write like this, okay, paragraph whose class starts with s, which paragraph will be located here? A paragraph whose class attribute value is starting with s. Here m, here s. If I press enter, you see this one is getting located. Okay, whose class is starting with s. If I say whose class starts with m, whose class is paragraph whose class starts with m. So this paragraph is okay. Press enter. This paragraph is whose class starts with m. Okay, this is one thing. Then okay, if I say P of class ends with, okay, whose class ends with, dollar means ends with n. So which paragraph is getting located? First paragraph, because this is a paragraph tag whose class is ending with n later. Okay, n, or you can also give in. This is also fine. Okay, whose class is ending with in. Yes, it's ending with in. If I give paragraph whose class ends with ub, enter. You see, this is a paragraph whose class is ending with ub. It's getting located. So this is the purpose of the cap and dollar symbol, guys. Okay, if some of the portion of this particular id or class is kind of dynamic in real time, if some of the portion of this id or class attribute values are dynamic, they are changing every time when you refresh the page or after 1 or 2 days, then it's not a better idea to go with that kind of dynamic kind of id or class things. Okay, rather we have to use the static things, static non-changeable things with that cap symbol and the dollar symbol. We have to identify the static thing, and accordingly we have to use them. Okay, and accordingly we have to use them. Fine, there is one more symbol, right? That is asterisk symbol here. Asterisk means contains, it can be anywhere. Okay, if I say p id asterisk p, okay, p id asterisk p, if this id attribute value has p anywhere in this value, in the beginning or in the end or in the middle, anywhere the p letter is there, then it will locate. You see, it's locating both because p is there here in the beginning itself. Okay, if I give something like id of 1, okay, paragraph who is having the 1 in their id attribute value, anywhere it can be, either this one can be there in the between, middle, or at the end. Okay, here at the end it is there, so it's locating. Okay, then p class star is equal to ai. Okay, p class star is equal to ai. Here a paragraph tag whose class is having ai anywhere. It can be in the beginning, it can be in the middle, it can be at the end. AI is in the middle, guys. Here you see AI is in the middle, so it will be locating this paragraph having the AI in the class. Okay, so this paragraph is getting located, first paragraph, like that, guys. Okay, this is starts with, this is ends with, this is star asterisk contains. Okay, so we're almost there, guys. So let's complete this remaining portion so that we can complete this session. Okay, these are the few more examples we have, or we have to learn as part of completing the CSS selectors. So fine, this is a complete cheat sheet, guys. Okay, this is a complete cheat sheet for learning the CSS selectors. Now P of ID, P of this already you know. Okay, I can write something like this, right? P of ID is equal to para1. Again, class is equal to main. Here it acts as a and operator. I already mentioned, right? This both the two conditions should satisfy. Then only it will locate the paragraph. Here it's locating the paragraph because here there is a paragraph having the ID as para1 and class as main. Okay, both the things are matching. But if one of the condition is not matching, for example, if I give ID as para1, P of ID is para1 and class as sub, is there any paragraph having the ID as para1 and class as sub? No, single paragraph is not there. So in that case, what happens? It will not locate. Okay, it acts as an AND operator. Okay, fine. Next one, colon not, colon not. That means reverse, reverse. It should not have. It should not have. If I say P colon not of, not of. Okay, P colon not of. Inside the not, I will say ID. In the square bracket, I will say ID is equal to para1. The paragraph a paragraph which should not be having the ID as para1 should be located. Okay, locate all the paragraphs which doesn't have the ID as para1. Simple terms. If I have to read this particular relative CSS selector, I have to say that all the paragraphs on this particular page which are not having the ID as para1 should be located. You see. So any mistake I did here, I just forgot single quote maybe. Enter. You see, now it's working. Paragraph which is not, all the paragraphs on this page which are not having the ID as para1. You see, this particular paragraph is having the ID as para1, so it's not getting located. So the second paragraph is not having the ID as para1, so it's getting located. Okay, that's what is the thing, guys. It's a reverse thing. Okay, so like this also we can use, guys. You can practice these things if you want. Okay, now you understood what is not of, right? So you can repeat the same thing here also. Okay, for the one you don't want, you have to put under the not. For the one you want to directly check, you don't have to provide that inside the not. You see this ID here, what I'm saying is paragraph which is not having the ID as para1 and it should be having the classes sub, like that we are reading. Okay, here in the second example here, the second example here, paragraph which is not having the ID as para1 and also it's not having the class as main should be located. Okay, like that. These are the syntaxes, guys. You can practice, not a problem. And there's one more thing for possible, guys. Like if I go to the relative XPath expressions, we have different things like XPath axis concept was there, right? XPath axis. Using the XPath axis, which I have explained in one of the previous sessions as part of XPath expressions, right? Using this, we can either navigate to the other element, to the parent, to the child, okay, to the grandparent, to the grandchild, or sibling, following sibling, preceding, following, like that we can navigate here and there. But in case of CSS selector, we only have this following sibling option available, guys. Here there are a lot of XPath accesses possible here in case of relative XPath, that is following, preceding. Then we have what is that, guys? Child, parent, ancestor, descendant, then following sibling, preceding sibling. These are the different XPath access we have as part of XPath. These are many things are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are there. But coming to the relative CSS selectors, relative CSS selectors doesn't support all this XPath access. Rather, only one is there. That is following sibling is there. Okay, so that is represented as plus symbol here. Okay, here plus means following sibling, guys. Okay, here only one thing is matching with the CSS selectors, that is XPath access. In XPath we have following sibling. The relevant for the following sibling in CSS selectors is plus symbol. Okay, plus symbol. I'll tell you how to use a plus symbol now. It works like a following sibling, guys. Okay, following sibling. The remaining XPath access cannot be converted into the CSS selector because CSS selectors only has a following sibling possibility using the plus symbol here. Nothing much. Okay, so what I will do here is I'll refresh the page. I'll inspect this. Go to the selector sub. Here, guys, I'll say I locate this paragraph, guys. First paragraph I locate. The paragraph having the ID as para1 I locate. Now using this particular paragraph, first paragraph I located. Using this paragraph, I want to locate the second paragraph. Okay. So for that I have to say plus P. That's it. Okay. Plus means following sibling. What is the following sibling? Tag I want to locate P. Like this. If I press enter using this locator, I am locating this paragraph. Okay. That is following sibling replication. If I say head, okay, head. If I say head, I want to locate, I located the head tag here, right? Head tag here. Now I want to locate the following sibling. I can say plus body. You see, using the head tag, I located the body tag. Similarly, here I can say star also. Both are same. So that is what is place, guys. Okay, you can practice these things. That's fine. Now the remaining things, last few things we have. I want to, okay, in this element that in this particular page, guys, there are few disabled elements. For example, this button, if you see here, if I right click inspect somewhere here and go to that particular HTML code of this particular button. So this is a button, guys. Okay, this is a button. As you can see, if I hover the mouse on this HTML code, this button is getting highlighted. So why this button is in hidden mode? Because of this attribute known as disabled attribute, right? Because of this disabled attribute, this particular button is in disabled state. So I can write a CSS selector like this. I can say disabled, press enter. You see all the disabled fields will be located. You see all the disabled fields, button one, this disabled text box field. There are 4 elements on this page which are disabled state. This button, this text box field is in disabled state, and here this checkbox field is in disabled state, and some hyperlink somewhere this hyperlink is there, which is there also in disabled state. Okay, fine. So there are 4 elements on this page which are in disabled state. Similarly, I want to locate all the elements which are in enabled state. Let's say this button 2, it doesn't have anything. So, but there is a way, guys. Okay, but there is a way we can use like this. We can say any element on this page which is in enabled state. Okay, all the elements on this page which are in enabled state. 57 new elements are in this page which are in enabled state. Similarly, I can do star colon disable. Okay, to locate all the elements on this page which are in disabled state. You see this button one, this text box field and this checkbox field are in disabled state. Okay, like this we can directly find out. I want to, again, one more thing is, okay, one more requirement is there. I want to refresh this page. I want to locate all the radio buttons and checkbox fields which are in selected state here. Okay, so here this checkbox orange checkbox field is in selected state, and this radio button is in selected state. This checkbox field is in disable in selected state. I'll inspect somewhere here and go here to the selector sub and write colon, I mean star colon checked. Checked means selected or not. Okay, so all the radio buttons and checkbox fields which are in selected state will be located here using this star checked. So orange, car, laptop, and is there any other thing? Laptop, laptop, car, orange, and other one is somewhere here, guys. I don't know where it is. Option one. Okay, this one. Okay, option one. Okay, so somewhere in the older newsletter, I think this one. Okay, this one is in selected state. Okay, this one is also getting located, guys. Okay, it's being taken as checked. If I inspect this and see what is there, yeah. Okay, it's in selected state. Okay, selected state. So that's why it's getting located. So like this, guys, locate selected checkbox or radio buttons or drop down field options which are in selected state. Okay, for that you have to use star colon checked. If you want to locate only the disabled elements, you have to use star colon disabled. If you want to locate all the enabled elements, you have to say star colon enabled, like this, guys. So hope, guys, these are the few examples of CSS selectors. Okay, if you practice all the CSS selectors that I have explained or covered in this session in a manual way by your own after watching this session, okay, you will get confidence. Okay, you'll get confidence and you'll be able to build CSS selectors on your own. Okay, that's what is required, guys. We should not be depending on the tools like selector sub, because tomorrow selector sub may not be there. Okay, earlier days, guys, we used to have Firebug and Firepath. They got deprecated. After that, we got Crowpath. Crowpath also got deprecated. Now it's not working properly now nowadays. Now we have got selector sub, okay, which is working fine, but we are not sure whether selectors will be there for future or not. Okay, anything can happen, we don't know. Okay, so it's better that you learn CSS selectors on your own, and you should be in a position to create the CSS selectors on your own. And if selector sub is not there, what we can do here is I'll just say control F here, selecting one of the line here. I'll say control F, you'll get this text box video here. Also you can type the CSS select. For example, if I can type select off, so there's a problem in this. If I inspect this drop down field, let me inspect, and here is ID. Copy this ID, and I will say select off. ID is equal to ID value. Press enter. You see, so this thing got highlighted. That means this drop down field has got located. Okay, using the CS selector, we are able to locate this drop down field. You see, this HTML code is getting highlighted. When I hover the mouse on this HTML code, which is getting highlighted using the CS selector, this drop down field is getting highlighted. That means the locator is working. If selector sub is not there, we have to use the default Google Chrome DevTools here. Okay, but since selector sub is a very advanced tool and all, and now it is currently popular in the market, So I recommend if selector sub is there, you can use a selector sub, guys. But you should be ready if in case selector sub is not there tomorrow also, you should be in a position to create your own CS selectors and should be in a position to locate the elements using the manually drafted CS selectors. Okay, but selector sub is going to save a lot of time for you guys. So till it is there, use it like anything. Okay. So that's all about the CS selectors, guys, and how to manually create the CSS selectors or build CS selectors on your own from scratch. So that's it, guys. See you in the next video session. Thank you. Bye.